Happy to see you. Great that you're here. And miracle mind, we call it, the miracle mind opens up completely. So another moment to see what is truly going on and to get in touch with our consciousness as it is open to receive the love of God. And it's a very interesting moment in which we come together and actually taking a look at what A Course in Miracles really is. And why is that so important? Well, that is so important, like it's quite an investment, you could say. It's an investment in time, money, whatever. It's quite an investment to and attention, of course, and presence. Like to dive deeply in fact, in the question, what is A Course in Miracles really? Like, what is it really? Maybe this is the first time that you go through the book. Great, that would be great. And maybe you already did this for 20 years. That's okay. It's okay. So to hear what A Course in Miracles actually is to really start at the very, very, very first beginning and very, very basics of what it actually says, where it comes from, what it actually says, what the meaning of it is, what the possibility of it is. And apparently you're ready to hear this. Otherwise you would not simply not be here and listen to this. So it's like whatever is being said about A Course in Miracles, forget it. Let it go. Now here you come to a place where you actually can receive what A Course in Miracles really is. Not because I'm so special, not because whoever is special, not at all. Just because it is not, say, obscured by anything, to receive this completely. And when I say that, I really mean that in the sense of there's a possibility to hear this in such a new way that it makes so much sense. That's in fact why I'm sharing this. And that goes, you could say, the very fundamental process that is taking place in you, in your transformation, can, say, easily go into such deep depths that you had no idea about, literally. So that is also the invitation of what we're doing here. So it's you're being, say, taken in A Course in Miracles in a way that you had no idea was possible, even though you have studied it and have heard everyone talk about it or whatever. It's like, but here actually we come to the place where you finally are going to discover what A Course in Miracles really is. And that's how open, you can be to receive this. That's how open you can be. And also it will so-called pay off really fast. It will pay off really fast because there's nothing in the way. There's no big name in the way. There's not a famous teacher in the way. There is not an listen to me, I know what this is in the way. Like, none of that. So in other words, the way that this is being presented here is has a purity that is a very quick way, let's say, or the quickest way to get to it. Because literally there's nothing in the way for the expression of it. I have nothing to lose with it, nothing to gain with it. There's no other purpose than, in fact, sharing the purity of what is actually being offered to you in the, say, first-person scripture that is being shared in the Course in Miracles, unedited, pure as it is. Used it, say, by Master Teacher also in this. So Master Teacher doesn't have a name. Who's his name? master teacher. What was his name? Dear one. Yeah, the old man, whatever. Like, has no name, has no interest in any personal investment to be recognized, to be whatever. No, none of that. He's not famous. He's not anything like that. He's available, yes. He only has this same purpose as I'm sharing with you in showing what actually A Course in Miracles is, and allows it to work at the same time, allows the Course in Miracles to fully come, say, being active in your consciousness. And this I know because I literally received it this way, and not any other way. Like, there was, in that sense, no disturbance on that at all. So that's why I can share this with you, and I have no other purpose than to share the purity of it. Not for recognition, not for anything that would be, say, related to an individual, a personality, recognition. No, it can die now. And it does die now. It does all the time. It dies all the time. Like, it fails, you could say, it fails all the time. It recognizes its, futility in that sense, to manifest anything here all the time. Now that's really great and very helpful, but very confrontative, and can cause all kinds of extreme discomfort, as we saw, or brings you right into denial with, well, that's bullshit, I have heard this before. Like, no, you did not. It is not even being shared. So it is only being shared if you receive it. So this is your opportunity to actually receive it. So it's really unique in itself. That's what I'm saying. And you get that. All right. So now in this miracle mind, we actually use, also part of it is using the Urtext of Manuscripts with the Manual for Teacher, Volume 3, from the combined edition, unedited, purely written down. It's like taken down, shared as is with you. So we use the Manual for Teachers, Volume 3 is that of the book. And today we're actually going to read something, the introduction to the characteristics of God's teachers. The characteristics of God's teachers. There are many of them, it's like 12 or so. And we are just reading the introduction today. Why am I doing this? Well, see, the funny part is this. When you receive A Course in Miracles as it really is, you can't avoid demonstrating it, teaching it, receiving it for yourself, like receiving that, what you literally come to the meaning of it. You let yourself be touched by the meaning of it. It's a hermeneutics activity, you could say. It's not just concepts. It's not this, not that. Not at all. It is going deeper into meaning. Let meaning overwhelm you and melt you down, you could say. Seeing that any kind of blockage would be fear-based, would have nothing to do with your true essence. So in teaching is a natural part of that. Demonstration, by receiving it, by letting yourself be moved by this inner connection, that you finally allow yourself to receive completely in your awareness. And saying that, letting everything that has nothing to do with it be taken from you in that sense. Let not that disturb your peace. It's the same as in the lesson of today. It's like, I'm not a victim of the world I see. So it's like, let all these thoughts just stream by. Don't do anything with it. Don't let it disturb anything. They are allowed to be there, but you're not going to do anything with it. Now, this is a miraculous procedure that we use all the time too. But to see, what I'm sharing here now is this, like the part of demonstrating it, receiving it for yourself, is the very essence of this meeting. Is really why we come together. If you allow that to occur, you step into your teaching function, demonstrating truth by receiving it. Now, a teacher needs also a teacher. So that can be anyone that you meet. We saw this before. The pupil and the teacher's role are exchangeable. Now, it's also very nice to listen, to receive, say, the vision given by one who in fact went through the whole procedure. You know, it's like the master teacher of A Course in Miracles went through this whole procedure of recognizing it, implementing it, receiving it, knowing exactly its place, having a revelatory mind, directly communicating light, peace, love, high frequency exposure, you could say, that literally puts you in the place of becoming a master. He literally teaches masters. He literally teaches teachers. And here's the benefit for you then, that's such an incredible speed up, but so hard to listen to if you want to stay in your human ways of learning something or all of this. Like, no, he speeds up that process. He puts his finger right where the pain lies in you. He pushes you even deeper into it, into the fear, into the whatever, for you to recognize that that is the case, that is what you have been denying, or that is what is in the way, and here you go. You know, so that's part of that too. That places, say, that makes it sense for us. It makes sense for us to use the manual for teachers in this because of this procedure. So I'm very explicit in explaining or putting words to what I'm doing here, just even to increase the clarity of what is actually occurring in you since you're listening to this. Okay. What are the characteristics of God's teachers? Introduction. The service traits of God's teachers are not at all alike. That's right. So the service traits of God's teachers are not alike at all. Like, they don't look the same, they don't have the same background, they don't have the same experiences. No. They do not look alike to the body's eyes. They come from vastly different backgrounds. Their experiences of the world may vary greatly. And their superficial personalities are quite distinct. Nor at the beginning stages of their functioning as teachers of God have they yet acquired the deeper characteristics that will establish them as what they are. God gives special gifts to his teachers because they have a special role in his plan for atonement. Their specialness is of course only temporary, set in time as a means of leading out of time. These special gifts, born in the holy relationship toward which the teaching-learning situation is geared, become characteristic of all teachers of God who have advanced in their own learning. In this respect, they are all alike. They all have their so-called special gifts, but most of all, they are born in a holy relationships. Their gifts are born in a holy relationship by you recognizing truth that came about. Suddenly you receive a certainty that you did not have before in your experience of your communication with God. And in your experiences related to light experiences that are happening in your mind, suddenly these little shifts and sudden, say, overwhelming love that you feel, the complete peace that you abide in for hours or whatever is going, however that is for you. So in this respect, they're all alike. All differences among the sons of God are temporary. Nevertheless, in time it can be said that the advanced teachers of God have the following characteristics. Well, there they go. There they are. So I'll read them, but just so these characteristics can be, say, recognized. Trust. We will go through all of these. Trust is a big one. Honesty. Tolerance. Gentleness. Joy. Defenselessness. And a very important one, generosity. And another very important one, patience. Faithfulness. Open-mindedness. Well, these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 characteristics. Okay, I thought there were 12, but there are 10 characteristics. So we move through them when we continue. So this was just the first introduction to it. I'm reading this to you just to get familiar with it. That's all. So now we have a choice. We can listen to Master Teacher first in the, say, second part of this talk that he had, that is in this book, like scripture from Resurrected Man. So there are 3 audios, mother audios, you could say, of 1.5 hours. I chopped them up in 6 segments. We had the first 6, now the second 6 of the second part of the talk, which is one talk and which is a real development in the actual occurrence of what happens if you start to, say, receive this, which is very possible in the development as we go through these parts of the talk. And you can listen to the whole talk too, of course, that's no problem. But you see there's a transition taking place. So the people that apparently appear to be there, present with Master Teacher, start to come into an experience of release of self-identity, a release of what you think you are, release of fear, a release of any kind of idea. So they come into a sense of, you could say, rebirth, in a sense of deeply letting themselves be rattled by what is being shared, not, say, trying to hold on to it, but actually letting something occur. Now this is always interesting, because you say, like, well, why do I need to listen to that? It's like all these screaming people, all this, like, well, here's an opportunity. Now it's actually like this. If you think you're separate from what you hear, yeah, then you're separate from what you hear. If you go into what is the actual occurrence happening in the moment, and you might say, like, well, that happened years ago, right? Like, no, it's happening right now. You're actually hearing this for the first time. It's brand new. You're hearing it for the first time. You're a complete and whole part of what the actual occurrence is here. You could say this is the only real thing that can happen to you today. Well, of course, you can have more real experiences today, but this would be certainly one of them. So it does something with you what you hear. What Master Teacher shares is bringing you closer to the point where you see where your defense is, or where you can easily decide to release wherever you were holding on to. So certainly, slowly but certainly, you come to the recognition, yeah, what do I got to lose? What do I got to lose? Why would I hold on to anything? If my temporalness doesn't bring me anything, in fact, but the fear of losing something, or the fear of thinking that I'm doing something wrong, or the fear that I might miss out on a human experience, or the fear of who knows what kind of fear. Like, what do I have to lose? All of that. So is that a real sacrifice? No. If you want to come into the certainty of the truth of you, this is a necessary procedure, necessary part in the development. So this is my invitation then. Whatever the sounds may appear, these are the sounds of you waking up, the sounds of you coming into your experience of resurrection. You don't have to imitate it, you don't have to make the same noises, you don't have to do anything, but just letting this occur to you, whatever is going on, is the only, say, invitation. So that was a very, very gentle introduction. It's interesting. So that's really lovely. Well, let's listen to Master Teacher first, since I can't wait to do that, apparently. And why does that make me so happy? Because I recognize the incredible gift of it, seeing that was it is what I recognize myself to be.
It means giving before. It's a time idea that I have given all before. I'm not holding on to a grievance and bringing it into the present. Therefore, everything I see is perfect unto itself. Do you see that? It cannot not be so. That's a miracle worker, all right? Now, miracles are associated with fear only because of the belief that darkness can hide. You actually think that you can get down into darkness and keep yourself from being whole. And you're finally very afraid of the miracle because you think you can instruct yourself in your own limited definition of yourself. In that sense, the miracle to you is death. Why? It would be the loss of your perceptions. You see? And you're very fearful of doing that. Okay. You believe that what your physical eyes cannot see does not exist. This leads to a denial of spiritual sight. And doggone it, guys, all of the academic teachings are that if I can't see it perceptually, I won't believe it. Okay. The mind that does not question its perceptual associations, that is, does not demand to know where it came from, is simply going to continue to identify itself within its own limited associate thought forms. The miracle then is being denied that consciousness. He is going to remain in that association of conflict and death. Remember what I told you on the first page. He's not real. And neither are you if you do that. Okay. You don't know where you came from. You don't know how you got there. Your dependence on that is Adam counting the animals. That's the idea that somehow you can take these thoughts that are here and bring them together in association that's going to make sense in your mind. That's impossible. No matter how many of these thoughts you bring together, they have no source. Okay? Okay. You can't take partial stuff and make it whole through assembling the parts. Can't do it. You must see that all parts contain the whole. Amazing. Okay. Miracles rearrange perception, oh my goodness, and place all levels in true perception. This is healing because sickness comes from confusing the levels. At any one moment you think you can die and hold on to the attention of being sick or separated from God. The release of that, even for one moment, is a maturation of your whole mind that's inevitable in the process of evolution. Okay? You have an idea of a perfect mind constructed in you. It must be that at any time you can go to that. That at any moment you can what? Step out of time. That's the miracle, just for that moment. All right? Ready? Miracles enable you to heal the sick and what? Raise the dead, because you thought they were dead in your mind, because you make sickness and death yourself, and can therefore abolish both. You are a miracle capable of creating in the likeness of your Creator. You are a miracle capable of creating in the likeness of your Creator. You are that because that is God's will that you be that. You cannot be anything else because there is not anything else. It's not open to a discussion of what you think that is or what anything else is. You cannot not be that because that's what everything is. Okay? Obviously, then, your perceptual judgment of it cannot be true. That's what we just said. Ready? You are a miracle capable of creating in the likeness of your Creator. Are you ready for this? Everything else is your own nightmare and does not exist. That's the first sentence in the course. This does not exist. Only the creations of light are real. Isn't that lovely? Only the creations of light harmony, that is, associations of truth, are real, because even in perception, they are reflections of that truth. That's how you become the living Son of God. You wonder how there can be multiple living sons of God. Because perception does vary, but wholeness does not. Therefore, whole perception will be whole unto itself. You won't judge a brother, although he can bring to you all the dramatic demonstrations of his wholeness. What difference does that make if he's whole? You call that talent and think you can only utilize as part of it. I tell you it's potential fulfilled, and that you will create perfectly in your own mind, and I will define that as whole, because wholeness does not require a definition. It's only a statement of your own mind as to you what you are, isn't it? Who is there to judge that? No one. I want to give you the freedom of your miracle mind, guys, so that you'll stop trying to define it in a limited fashion. Everything you do is a miracle because you are miracle mind, if you'll allow it to be and won't judge it through your own perceptual limitation. Okay. Ready? All miracles, here's where we're going to talk about this segment of time. Miracles are a part of an interlocking chain of forgiveness, which when completed is the atonement. Okay? This is the admission of the possibility of completion. That's what it says, that when completed. Okay? Now, but listen. Atonement works all the time and in all dimensions of time. I took it away from you. I gave you the idea of the miracle and then told you it's working all the time. That it just worked now. That you're in heaven. That you're gone from here. Okay? Can you do this now? That's the miracle. That's why this is a Course in Miracles. It doesn't have anything to do with your mother-in-law. It doesn't have to do with practicing identities. Come on, cut it out. I want this to go to all the groups in the world. If you're going to do a Course in Miracles, let's do it. It doesn't have anything to do with groups. Will the groups formulate into the single atonement of dedicated minds to this? The atonement is nothing but your whole commitment to it. Does it occur? Simultaneously with your commitment, which is what the miracle is, which is the subtraction of your perception. Infinite patience brings immediate result. Of course, how could it not? What? You didn't let time get involved in it. You didn't say, I'm going to find God if it takes 100 years. Okay? You just said, I'm going to find God. It has nothing to do with time. That's eternity. If you try to define God in time, He won't be there. You'll always fail. Why? Your time will run out. This is the whole idea of statistical possibility. Everything is true by the possibility unless you set a time limit, and then it won't occur. Otherwise, it's bound to occur. When did it occur? When you thought of it. Isn't that nice? Shut up. Read this. All right. Okay, this is sort of an interesting way to look at undoing. Okay, miracles. Oh, let me get this. All time and in all dimensions of time. Why? Time is space. I don't want you to get away from the 9-dimensional association of your mind. Okay? If time is varying speeds, it contains simultaneously in adjuncts of consciousness relationships within a framework of total time. Jesus calls this the continuity of time. Okay? You can move dimensionally anywhere you want in your whole mind using the 9 dimensions of time, which are the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, 3-dimensional, plus time. 9-dimensional is that each one, Father, Son, and Spirit, contains the other 2. That's the 9-dimensional of time. The 10th dimension is time itself, or the whole association. They've arrived at this, incidentally, in physics, but I don't think they'd like the idea that it's the Trinity. I'm not sure that they're going to arrive at the certainty that everything in perceptual mind is expressed in 3, isn't it? That's coming into death, being there, and getting out. Okay? That's descending into hell for 3 days, isn't it? Otherwise, you would have no timeline. Otherwise, you'd be a single point. This is the expression of the new string theory of the relationship of a particle and wave, that the universe finally has to be a string. That is, it has to have some dimension, which indeed it does, because the point would be everything and would eliminate space-time altogether. Do you see that? I know you do. Boy, you guys are something. Okay. Miracles represent freedom from fear. Atoning at one-ing means undoing. It means don't do. Undo. See, you're always doing with your mind, all right? The undoing of fear is an essential part of the atonement value of miracles, since you're always doing fear. Okay, undo it. Be unreal here. A miracle is a universal blessing from God through me to all of my brothers. It is my privilege of the forgiven to forgive. It's my statement to you that I am honored to serve you. It's my statement to you that I realize fully your dilemma and that I realize fully the solution. Now, if I didn't realize your dilemma, I couldn't be a savior. Okay? So I come into a perceptual association. This is the miracle. Okay? I represent you later on in your own time associations and declare to you that you are saved and out of time. That's the miracle of your mind when you accept that. What are you accepting? Your own mind's projections as coming into a whole association with you. Now, Jesus uses the first person here. It's perfectly proper for you as an awakened mind to declare the I of the Course in Miracles as you, because I assure you that it is. Now, if you need to use it as Jesus as a frame of reference, for goodness sake, use it. But let it be real. That's the requirement. If the resurrection in fact occurred, it had to be you, and that's what he'll tell you. And that's what he tells you in the 1st and 2nd chapter, doesn't he? That you are undergoing the passion, okay, the rebirth, the second coming. And that's you. All right. It is the privilege of the forgiven to forgive. Okay. Miracles are a way of earning release from fear, and that's an astonishing idea. I'll explain it. Revelation induces a state in which fear has already been abolished. That's where I'm teaching from. Miracles are thus a means, and revelation is an end. They are finally the same thing, aren't they? A revelatory mind can teach to the vision of the miracle. Not only that, but it can teach you that you can earn miracles by using what you call holy instances, to accumulate the glory of the reassociation that you're coming into. All right? Many of you that are undergoing revelation now are just accumulative miracle associations. All right? Whole-mindedness. Miracles praise God through you. They praise Him by honoring His creations, affirming their perfection. They heal because they deny body identification and affirm spiritual identification. Okay? God created me. I am not a body. Ready? By recognizing spirit, recognizing in your mind, miracles adjust the levels of perception and show them in proper alignment. This places spirit at the center where it can communicate directly. This is the astonishing idea that you are undergoing a maturation of your mind. This is the admission, if you want to look at it, at the hierarchy of consciousnesses. The idea of the evolution of consciousness through the mineral, through the vegetable, through the wholeness of your mind, what? Becoming whole. Adjusting to finally a true perception through the recognition of your splitness from reality, which is what the human condition is. A very temporary condition, isn't it?
Bon. Wow. You know what I mean? Okay. Wow. So were we gone? Yes, we were gone. Yeah, I was gone. Yeah, you were gone. Yeah, indeed, it happened. Did the miracle happen? Yes, it did. It did happen. Wow. Isn't that amazing? Thank you. So you cannot not be a whole part of this. That's what I said. It's like, listen to everything that's occurring, listen to what is being shared, include yourself in completely, because there's no one else. So there's nothing to fear. Like, include yourself completely, and there you go. And literally, there you go. I love this. I love it. So thank you, Master Teacher, for bringing us home, taking us out of our little idea about ourselves. Whoosh, completely whoosh, gone. So where were we? I have no idea. Yeah. Okay, so I know I prepared something. Well, let's take a look at that. This is in reference to the very first start of the Course in Miracles. And it's right here. So I got it. And it's very lovely. We've been here, removing obstacles. So the other day we admitted to ourselves that, say, one problem, one solution. What is actually the problem here? Well, I in the definition of myself was the problem, is what we said. Like, okay, I admit I'm powerless over my addiction. I'm powerless over my addiction to be me, to be this, say, self-defined identity, apparently in time and space, and that was the problem. So today, and it will resolve as soon as I stop formulating myself as the obstacle or as the problem, and like I don't have to work myself out of my construct, because none of that has any reality. You just experience that in being taken out of this. Like, okay, my definition of myself, whoa, that is not much. It's not much. It's like there's not much left of it. Now today we're looking at removing obstacles. Like, so what does that have to do with our true essence? Like, how are we dealing with this? Now you're being brought to it. So in fact it's a continuation. of a tape that we actually have listened to already. Removing obstacles. So the very first thing you read in the book, and Master Teacher is referring to that even in the talk that we just heard too. This is a Course in Miracles. It is a required course. It is a required course. Like, you're going to do this no matter what. This is a Course in Miracles, and you are going to do it no matter what. No matter if you think it, you don't, you will do it. Literally. And that doesn't have to do with the blue and gold book, like with the version of the Course in Miracles that you have. It has to do not with a book. It has to do not with whatever way the book will look. No, it has to do with a Course in Miracles. A course from apparent death to life. Like, however you want to wake up, you will go through this process. You will go through these experiences in order to recognize the life that you are. So the apparent death, a course from the apparent death to life. It's a necessity. It's required. It is required that you do this. It is the only thing, in fact, that is required. What else could be required than for you to come to life? Coming from the self-definition, which you could refer to as death, like as a mortaholic continuation, thinking that life is based on death. You know, if life is eternal, that could never be true. So here we are. It is a necessity. It is required that you do it. It is the only thing that is required. Excuse me. Let me see. Only the time you take it is voluntary. It's like, whenever you're going to do this. It can be now. It can be in this moment. It can be some other time. It can be after two say lifetimes. It can be in 20,000 years. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Why? You are the denier of it, and you have established time to deny it, not to acknowledge it. You have invented time. So by your belief in an idea that this can take some time, or that you don't want to do it now but later, it can only happen because you think there's such thing as time. The moment you decide to shorten time, inestimably, you will be in heaven. You simply will step out of time. So as soon as you see that you are the one who actually defines time and think that you have a choice in the matter, like, I'll do it later, I will not do it now, it's just only the delay of, say, your experience of heaven, just because the idea that you think time is real. So the moment you decide to shorten time inestimably, you will be in heaven. You simply will step out of time. Remember, though, that time is at your own disposal. That is what it says. Free will does not mean free to die. Does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. You can't establish the necessity of coming from sickness and death to life, because the curriculum is all of you. And this is very difficult for you perceptually to see. You cannot establish the curriculum, like you cannot establish the way to learn this, because it includes all perceptual thought. Like, there's literally nothing left but the perceptual thought. Like, your whole human way of thinking is what is in the way. So all of it is in the way. There's not some part that is helpful. Your establishment is the limitation of the curriculum. So this is clearly put if you look at it. So let's take a look at it. It's like you why are you not experiencing heaven? Could ask, like, why am I not experiencing heaven? I would love to experience heaven, because you decide you want it some other time. You don't want to receive it now. Unless you want to receive it now, then it's yours. But it's like you have invented time. You think it can happen another moment. Later on, you will receive it for yourself. You don't want it. You don't want it now because you're not sure about anything. Now, the way to come to it can never be established by you. Like, you, as a definition of yourself, are what the limitation is. So how could you possibly, say, come up with a curriculum to get yourself out of it? That makes sense. It's logical, what I'm sharing with you. It does not make sense. So how can a limited identity, how can someone who is, say, the representation of limitation, come to an opening out of that, come up with a way to get out of that? That's impossible. So that's why we always say, like, okay, you need to be born again. There's a rebirth connected to this. You cannot get there. Simply, whatever you do, whatever you think about it, whatever you think might help, is not going to help you to get out of it. Just simply because you are what the limitation is. Your definition of yourself is what the limitation is, and you believe that you are that. You believe that you live in time, that you can choose what to take when and however. You know, there's all of this. So, and you practice that every day. You keep that, say, active in your mind, and by that, by keeping this limitation active in your mind, there's no hope for you, for that character, for that limited definition, to come to know itself. So the moment you decide to shorten time inestimably, you will be in heaven. You simply will step out of time. So time was really the thing here. It's like you invented time and you use it against yourself. So there's truth. You use time to deny it, thinking that, oh, well, that's not now. That's another moment. And it is not. Remember, though, that time is... Oh, yeah, sorry, we saw this. I have to go the other way. This is a Course in Miracles. Oh, no, we went there too. Okay. You cannot establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. Like, that's another part. It's also like really in the first page of A Course in Miracles. You cannot establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. Like, where are you open to allow a change to occur? That will, say, by your choice, open up for you to learn. Obviously, and that is why you are doing, I am asking you to elect to take the whole thing now. You could say, like, well, you think that you can pick out a little bit here and tomorrow another little bit, and in a year a big chunk, and then 10 years later another chunk, and you think you can manage it that way. Now here Master Teacher says, I'm asking you to elect. Since you can elect what to take when, you take the whole thing now. I'm telling you from an enlightened association that you can do it through the miracle of your own dissociation from death. In other words, like, you can wake up now completely holy. There's nothing in the way except your choice. Or your idea about time. That's the only thing that's in the way. I'm reading again. I'm asking you to elect to take the whole thing now. I'm telling you from an enlightened association that you can do it through the miracle of your own dissociation from death. The discourse or the course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love. That's another sentence there. Like the course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love. Why? Love is its own meaning. For that is beyond what can be taught. Love is its own meaning. You can't teach love. It is what it is. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. All perceptual mind is nothing but a block to the love of God, or reality. All perceptual mind, all the mind that thinks it lives in time, that it has ideas, that it uses their eyes and ears and touch and taste to confirm its identity, all perceptual mind is nothing but a block to the love of God or reality. So you are that block. There is no other block but you. So here that brings the expression, it does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness. Who is that block? What is that block? Perceptual mind is nothing but a block to the love of God or reality. You are that block if you believe that you are that mind. If you believe that you have a temporal mind, that you live a life in order to die at a certain point, in a temporal idea about yourself, and really believing that that is you, that is exactly the block. There is no other block but you. When you remove the obstacles of the necessity for you, for your own miscreations, that is, to hold yourself separate from wholeness, when you remove the obstacles for this, you will be whole. Why? Well, that's what you are. It is nothing but a relinquishment of your own thoughts, a removal of your own grievance, a letting go and letting God, a surrender. Wow. When you remove the obstacles of the necessity for your own miscreations, that is, to hold yourself separate from wholeness, in thinking that you live in time, that your life is based on death, and that it's okay to attack your brother, that, you believe your own definition of yourself. If you stop that, when you remove the obstacles from your incessant, say, preoccupation of mind to miscreate, then you will be whole. If you stop doing it, you will be whole. Because that is what you are. That like naturally comes into your full consciousness. It is what you are. You are whole. It is nothing but the relinquishment of your thoughts, a removal of your own grievance, a letting go and letting God, a surrender. Wow, the opposite of love is fear. I'm afraid. I can't love. I'm afraid. You are going to attack me. I'll love you for a minute, but you are going to get me. You are afraid of God. Like, this is what's happening. So you're afraid to let that happen. So you defend yourself to protect yourself because you don't want to get hurt again. I'm afraid. I can't love. I'm afraid. You're going to attack me. You're going to leave me. You're going to do all kinds of things. The opposite of love is fear. I'm afraid I can't love. I'm afraid. You're going to attack me. I'll love you for a minute, but you are going to get me. You are afraid of God. But what is all-encompassing, that is what love is. Love is all-encompassing. It cannot have an opposite. There's no opposite to love. There's no opposite to love. What that says is that there's no such thing as fear. How could that be? What would be fearful? Is God fearful? Did He create you perfectly? How can you be fearful? What is it that you are afraid of? Can you be afraid of yourself? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, so that's great too. So the opposite of love is fear. I'm afraid. I can't love. This is what you tell yourself. I'm afraid. I can't love. No, you're going to attack me. I love you for a minute, but you're going to get me. You're afraid of God. And then it says, also from the absolute first page of A Course in Miracles, what is all-encompassing? Love is all-encompassing. It can have no opposite. What that says is that there's no such thing as fear. How could there be? What would be fearful? It brings it closer to your experience of yourself. Like, I've defined myself as this temporal being, living in time and space, living, in fact, with my days counted. Yeah, if I'm lucky, I get 80. I'm becoming 80 years old. Or if I'm lucky, I'm making it to 100. But see, that life is based on time, on death, and so it has nothing to do with what life is. But I can have that as a construct in my mind. Now, that causes great anxiety and fear, thinking that I'm this, say, walking around in space and time, and that I have a possibility of losing something, that I have a possibility of losing others. I give my heart to someone and now my heart is broken because this person seemed to be going away, or I seem to be left alone. I seem to be attacked. I seem to be whatever the definition of that is. So all of that, this whole definition of yourself as self-identity, created, miscreated identity, is not what you are. But you believe that is what you are. That's why you can be in so much fear. That's why you really think that if that stops to exist, that you don't exist anymore. And this is really like in the rebirth process, you could say the biggest hiccup. Like you're actually going to allow yourself to be reborn, to come into an experience of rebirth. Seeing that all your definitions were not necessary for you truly to exist in a timeless experience of yourself, not being defined by time, not being defined by others, not being defined by a world. No, none of that. Not being, say, incarcerated by your own fear. No. So literally you, in that moment when you allow that to occur, you step out of time. You find yourself in timelessness. Is it necessary to define yourself in timelessness? No. His self-definition, does it make any sense at all? No, it does not. So whenever you experience fear, you could say, whenever you experience fear, you certainly have trusted something that you are not. And you think you don't want to lose that. Well, if you would, say, dive into that fear and let it completely take you over, you could see it had no power whatsoever. And actually you experience yourself as whole. Well, this sounds very familiar to me. It's like it's literally how my awakening moment, like my first real conscious, so to speak, awakening moment occurred. I allow myself to collapse completely into my fear and actually experience my wholeness. So can you be whole and complete and still find yourself here? It's like, see, the thing is that you don't have to define yourself anymore. You don't have to consider yourself in time. You don't have to let yourself be defined by this world, or being in this world, or being from this world, or anything like this. Like that is that would immediately bring you back into the formulation of a separate, as a miscreation, a separate identity in the universe. So great stuff here today. I love the clarity that's been given and that I share with you, and so I'm really happy that you join me in this, that I'm able to express it to you. And you see, like in the talk of Master Teacher, it's great to use, even this was, I think, 10 minutes or so, I have no idea. But you see, that's sufficient to let yourself be completely being transported out of time. So that's great practice. That is miracle mind practice. You know, it's like miracle mind practice. Your miracle mind is activated. So one of the side effects of that is that also your whole definition of yourself starts to become ridiculous to you, in fact. But that's not the only thing. So the other part of it is, if you allow more moments like this for yourself, you see that suddenly you can come into and Master Teacher was referring to this too. It's like you come to experience a holy instant, for one thing, or you can actually enter into a moment of revelation in which you directly are communicating with God. Literally, He's giving you everything in that moment. So that's just a total joyous occurrence and nothing else. But your mind is being prepared, you could say, to receive that, because it's so natural to your mind. It is nothing extraordinary. It is just that is natural. So anyway, thank you so much for being here, for joining me in this, and we continue tomorrow in an evening edition, at least for the Europeans, and an afternoon edition for the Central USA timers. All right, thank you so much, and see you soon. Bye for now.